No comment. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this full council meeting on Wednesday. Oh, where are we? Bear with. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this full council meeting on Wednesday, the 10th of December at Blackdown House. I am Councillor Eleanor Rollins, your chair for the evening, and I'd like to welcome everybody in this room and everybody who may be watching online, as well as members of the public sitting in the public gallery. Right, health and safety. In the event of a fire alarm sounding, please would you leave the building through the nearest fire exit marked with a green running man. It may be behind you. Exit the car park and make your way to the back, exit to the back of the car park over there. If anyone needs any assistance getting down the stairs or exiting the building, please would you make it known to Andrew or anybody at the top table, and we will make that happen. The meeting can be viewed live online on the council's YouTube page and is being recorded and will be available on YouTube at the end of this meeting for you to watch at your leisure. The agenda and papers have been published on the council's website in advance of the meeting. Could I please request that councillors and officers refer to page numbers from the agenda pack when referring to detail, so that other members may find their place in the papers. Thank you. I'm highlighting the following meeting good practice. Please only speak at the chair's invitation. Switch the microphone on your desk on when you're invited to speak and switch it off directly after you've spoken. Turn any mobile devices to off or silent right now, please. If you've not already done so, please ensure that you're logged into your microphone. If you have trouble with that, please just motion to Andrew and he'll help. Please ensure that if you're asked to stop speaking by the chair, that you actually do stop speaking. Thank you very much. We are now going to start this meeting by doing a roll call and declarations of interest. This will cover off agenda items 1 and 2 as ever, because otherwise the camera equipment struggles to pick us up. Please confirm your attendance by saying present and confirm whether or not you have any declarations of interest to make when you're invited to do so. Please refer to Anita, who's our MO for the evening, if you have any questions about your declarations of interest. Thank you. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Andrew. Andrew, are you ready?
Yes, Chair, I am ready. Thank you very much. Good evening. So the roll call and declarations of interest, please, tonight, councillors. Councillor Arnott.
Present and no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Aurora Bailey.
Present and no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Brian Bailey.
Present, Andrew, no declarations.
Councillor Jess Bailey.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Barlow.
Present and NRI on 18. I am known to one of the people on that.
Thank you. Councillor Blakey.
Present and no declarations.
Councillor Colin Brown.
No declarations.
Councillor Bruce.
A declaration.
Councillor Chapman. Councillor Chubb.
Seasonal greetings and no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Bethany Collins.
Present, thank you, and no declarations.
Councillor Roy Collins.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Davey.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Faithful.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Fernley.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Fitzgerald.
Present, no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Goodman.
Present, and I do know one of the people in agenda item 18.
Thank you. Councillor Anne Hall.
Present, nothing to declare, thank you.
Councillor Matt Hall.
Present and no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Hawkins.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Hayward.
Present, no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Heath.
Present, no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Hookway.
Present and no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Howe. Councillor Hughes.
Present, no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
I thought I'd logged in and I hadn't. Present, no declarations, thank you.
Councillor Jeffries.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor King.
No declarations.
Councillor Levine.
No declaration, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Loudon.
I'm on. Sorry, I'm confusing myself, aren't I? I think I'm here and I have no declarations. Thank you, Andrew.
Councillor McKinder.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Martin.
Present, no declarations, thank you.
Councillor McClowan. I hope I've got that right.
If that's me, I'm present and no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Martin. Sorry. Councillor McCullum, sorry. Apologies.
He sends his apologies, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Leary. Okay. Councillor Olive.
Present and no declarations, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Parr. Councillor Richards. Councillor Riddell.
Present and no declarations.
Councillor Rickson.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Rylance.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Smith. Councillor Westerman.
Present, no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Present, no declarations.
And Councillor Ragg.
Present, no declaration.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Do we have any apologies, please?
Yes, this evening we have apologies from Councillor Bloxham, Councillor Jenny Brown, Councillor Burrup, Councillor Dumper, Councillor Gazzard, Councillor Hartnell, Councillor Johns, Councillor Young, Councillor Ledger, Councillor Nicholas, Councillor O'Leary and Councillor Joe Wibley. Thank you.
I also add Councillor Howe into that, please.
Thank you. I was about to ask, does anybody have any more apologies from the room? So I hear Councillor Howe. Does anybody else have any apologies from Councillor Loudon?
Councillor Smith, please.
Thank you very much. Oh, Councillor Barlow, did you have your hand up? There's some conferring going on.
Violet Bonetta also sends her apologies.
Oh, Councillor Bonetta, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, okay. It seems like a long time ago since this happened because a lot has happened since, but minutes of the previous meeting, which was our last formal arranged meeting, was on the 15th of October. So if you can cast your mind back to 3 meetings hence, backwards. Does anybody have any comments, additions, amendments that they wish to bring, or is everybody happy to note these minutes and move on? Okay, I see no hands. I see no indication that anybody is unhappy with them. If you are happy to pass these minutes, would you please raise your hand now? If you wish to vote against, please raise your hand now. If you want to abstain, raise your hand now. Thank you. That's everybody. Wonderful. Okay, agenda item 4, public speaking. We have 2 members of the public registered to speak tonight, I believe. We have Mr. Andrew Beresford and then we have Grace Clifford who are going to speak. I don't know where Mr. Beresford is. Mr. Beresford? Ah, would you please come to the lectern in the middle there between the 2 red fences? Thank you. And then if you press the right button on the microphone, a red light should come on. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Beresford. So you have 3 minutes, please. There is a counter on the screen. Would you please tell us what you have to say? Thank you.
Yes, I'm trying to constrain myself from not mentioning anyone's names or things like that. I was a subject of a community protection notice last year, and I was obliged to appeal to a magistrate's court to quash it. I was advised by the officers of the council that I might lose. It might take 2 days, and I might suffer costs of about £12,000. I went ahead anyway. The case took 1 hour, and my costs were £62. What I'm trying to understand is whether there was a way to avoid that happening. So I think I'm entitled to some compensation for the stress I went through. It took over a year. I think I'm entitled to an apology, and I'd like to understand that the council will review its policies to ensure that things like that don't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Beresford, which I'm sure will be noted. Thank you very much. If you could turn on, thank you, just press the same button again. Thank you, perfect. Okay, wonderful. Right, next up we have Grace Clifford, who is going to, I think, speak to the motion on notice that's coming up later in the agenda. Ms. Clifford, if you would, please step up to the lectern. Once you've pressed the button on the microphone, the right-hand button, the light should come on, the red light, and then you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors, officers and members of the public. Thank you for inviting me this evening to speak. My name is Grace and I'm the Ocean Advocacy Manager for the Ocean Conservation Trust. East Devon has a strong connection with the ocean. It spans rugged coastline with vast cliffs that form part of the Jurassic Coast and includes iconic rivers such as the Exe, Otter and the Axe, with these sources linking our inland communities to the sea. When our ocean is healthy and functioning, it's a driver of our climate. It underpins our environment, our economies and our well-being. The threats faced by our ocean, litter, pollutions, plastics, overfishing, are all secondary to the drivers of these issues, which are people and our behaviours. If we can connect people to the ocean, they'll be emotionally driven to support pro-ocean behaviours. Whilst many councils have declared a climate emergency, often the ocean is missing from many climate plans. A motion for the ocean was created with this in mind. The motion is a model declaration and it was co-created with the Ocean Conservation Trust, Pam Buckham, who's a marine expert and a councillor at the time, and the LGA Coastal Special Interest Group. It recognises the important role local government have in marine policy. It's built to encapsulate and build upon work already being undertaken by councils, ensuring that coastal connection, education, protection, marine biodiversity and water management are cohesive and together. Local councils already manage a host of assets and world-class natural landscapes. Embedding ocean recovery into decision-making strengthens the work that you're already doing. The motion also supports community engagement and fosters stewardship, giving local people a voice through marine citizenship. This is shown through the flexible commitments and the many ways councillors and communities have come together on delivering the motion. I'll give you a few examples. South Tyneside Council increased their recycling bins and signage around their seafront, challenged the government for more round-year water quality testing. Norfolk Council produced a website where they hosted all the actions that were being created by everybody about the ocean. Plymouth Council developed a joint community and council local plan. Passing a motion for the ocean means recognising that a healthy ocean underpins a healthy East Devon. It means responsibility for the natural systems that protect local communities, showing that East Devon Council is fully committed to safeguarding its coastline, its climate, its economy and its future. It can be flexible to fit with what you're already carrying out, as well as supporting new work, making a call to central government and allows you to join the growing network of councils that have passed. 38 councils have declared a motion so far, so could East Devon be the next? Thank you.
Fantastic timing, thank you very much. Right, thank you for those comments as well, Grace, and I'm sure you'll be very interested in the debate that comes up later in the agenda. Right, matters of urgency. Agenda item 5. We have no matters of urgency for this agenda. Agenda item 6, announcements from the chair and the leader. Well, my first announcement, my only announcement, in fact, is to welcome Councillor Fran McElhone, who is sitting over there in the orange jumper, who was elected last week, 6 days ago. So straight in at the deep end, Fran. Welcome to East Devon District Council. This is an unusual council because we do have a little social later, so you'll have the chance to meet quite a few people and circulate a bit. So I'm sure everybody will go and introduce themselves to Fran later. Right, okay. Agenda item 7. Oh, hang on, I'm sorry. Leader, do you have any announcements?
No, I don't wish to detain anybody from your pies later, which you've probably mentioned. So nothing from me tonight, except happy Christmas in the spirit of Councillor Chubb. I thought that was wonderful.
Festive greetings indeed.
Festive greetings to all communities of all sorts.
Absolutely. Yes,
but happy Christmas mainly.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Leader. It seems, yeah, thank you. It seems odd so soon before Christmas when one has not even ordered one's turkey, but...
Oh, one has ordered one's turkey, you better get on with it.
Okay, well, maybe one is running late. Okay, right. Agenda item 7, confidential or exempt items. There are no confidential or exempt items on this agenda, you will be very pleased to hear. Right, agenda item 8, which is the substantials, getting into the substantive part of our agenda, which is pages 25 to 36 of your agenda pack. There are 3 questions on notice, and they all come from Councillor Goodman, who is basically the Councillor Miller of this session. Right, Councillor Goodman, you have got 3 questions. Do you have any follow-ups for any of them? You had written answers to all 3. Do you have a... Yes, okay, so do you want follow-up for each one, or...?
Just on the first one, I'd like to thank the councillor for that update. Really important, and thank you very much for that. On the second question, again, thank you very much for a very comprehensive update. And I just wonder whether some of that excellent news could be transferred to our residents, so our residents know in the weekly update, because it's some really good things that the council have done. And I also wonder whether or not we could have continued reports back to council over the next year, say every 6 months or so, on the great progress that we're making on the tree strategy. Thank you.
Councillor Yung is, of course, not here to answer any questions because he is celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff. Right.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry. I am so very sorry.
Not at all, Chair.
Councillor Jeffries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your very comprehensive answers to these 2 questions.
Indeed, thank you very much. Yes. Really pleased to see the interest in this, and yeah, I'll take that on board. I think we do some comms, especially through Wild East Devon and social media, but it'd be really good to get things out. I think an update to councillors to know what's happening, because as you say, the answer to question 2 is quite comprehensive, and yeah, well, maybe do that in bite-sized bits for dissemination as well. Thank you.
Okay, and your third question, Councillor Goodman?
Yes. Leader, the MJ on October the 16th said there were 2 councillors, 2 councillor Pornuts, and you were given 2 answers to my question, and at the same time attacked me for asking the questions. Members and residents still are none the wiser as to what you believe is best for East Devon. Some time ago, through research and community engagement, you said it was clear that a single unitary authority replacing the 8 district council and Devon Council was the most logical option. This cloudy lemonade has got even cloudier, so can you please answer, what do you believe is the right solution for East Devon, 541 or 911?
So...
Yes, sorry, Leader.
No worries. Well, thank you, Councillor Goodman. Am I on? I am. So I think I've given Councillor Goodman an extremely comprehensive answer there. And I'm, if I'm honest with him, grateful for him to have given me the opportunity to put it down there straight. So just to, it's Christmas, so I'm not going to go all the way through it. It's clearly a political question. So... Well, it is a political question. Of course it is, and you've asked it politically before.
You've answered it.
So if you go to... Sorry?
I remind you both, gentlemen, to speak through the chair.
Yeah, no, quite. I'm trying to pick out what the question was. The question was, what do I personally think, Chair, is the best solution? Right. The best solution has happened, which was all councils in Devon were asked to put forward ideas for consideration by the Secretary of State. They were not asked to decide because we do not have the power of decision. It is Christmas. I'll be careful what I say, but effectively, what Councillor Goodman's party left behind at county was nothing at all. And so what was clear, and it's in my answer, I won't parrot it back again. What was clear was that it was in the public interest for proposals to go in which covered the entirety of Devon. That's the main thing. And again, it's not good politics for me to sit here and knock, Exeter or Plymouth. I'm not going to do that. But you could see that was the way that this was going to go. And so what has been in the public interest is proposals to come forward from councils which covered the whole of Devon. Now, it isn't, I note that Councillor Goodman's got a very Christmassy smile on, and that's fine. This isn't a laughing matter. This is about children's social services, adults' social services, public health. It's not just parochial about, perhaps if I pick at random, say, Sidmouth and what may happen to its car parks in the future or various of its assets. This is a much bigger picture. This is about transport and highways. It's huge. So it was absolutely a matter of duty for all of us, whichever council we were at, to put forward ideas that covered the entirety of Devon. That was one of the 6 key questions. Now, the Conservatives didn't do that. They tried to cancel the election. And at that stage, and with respect to Councillor Goodman, he was chair of the party, so he must have known about that. Well, Councillor Goodman, you've been chair of the Devon Conservatives since January, according to the website. Forgive me if that information on the website is wrong.
Leader, would you please direct your remarks through the chair?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's not much more to say. I said it at the end. I'll just repeat it.
So, okay,
I'll
could you draw your remarks to the
Yeah,
floor? We have other things
I'd
on
be
the agenda.
delighted to. So, item bullet point 17, as Councillor Goodman knows, the Secretary of State will now consider which proposals will go to stakeholder consultation in the new year. In my view, it is to be hoped that the Secretary of State, Labour, has the independence of mind to include both 451 and 911 as options. And I am pleased that both have been put forward, and I see no problem with that at all.
Thank you, Leader. Right, that concludes questions to portfolio holders. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item 9, pages 37 to 111 in your agenda pack. So what you have in front of you is 19 recommendations. No, you don't. You have 19 sets of minutes without the recommendations because they have been stripped out. So all you have is the minutes of all the committees that have happened since our last scheduled full council meeting. Does anybody have any questions or amendments or anything they wish to say about any of these minutes, or are you happy to move on to a vote on those? Oh, they're for noting, aren't they? So yeah, they're just for noting. So unless anybody's has found any glaring omissions, errors, etc., then we're happy to note those and move on. I don't see anybody indicating that they want to say anything. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Moving on to agenda item 10, which is Cranbrook and the surrounding development areas community governance review draft recommendations, which is a very high-level report at present. Right, I am told that Councillor Jackson wishes to introduce this report. Councillor Jackson, would you please introduce this report then? Tell us all about it. Well, not all about it.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is something that came up several years ago now, with a request from Cranbrook Town Council to look at a CGR for the Cranbrook area. At the time, the Cranbrook development plan hadn't been finalised, and so it was felt that it wasn't the best time to do that because that hadn't concluded. Since then it has, and as a result we decided to progress with a governance review for that area, which has been ongoing. We sought submissions from, I think, the beginning of August through to October, and this report lays out what the results of those consultation exercise was. And before you are the recommendations for the next stage of this process, which will be another consultation that will take place in early 2026. So just looking for council support so that we can continue with that process, and we can progress this and get some clarity for all moving forward. Thank you.
So, Councillor Jackson, were you proposing the 4 recommendations?
Yes, please.
Okay. Would anybody like to second those 4 recommendations? Oh, I've got Councillor Bruce's hand. Are you seconding? Thank you. Right, so they are duly proposed and seconded. Now, would anybody like to ask any questions? Say anything, speak. Councillor Faithful, please.
Thank you, Chair. Got a few questions. First, how much is this costing? Do we know?
That is in the report, Councillor Faithful. On a page 100, thank you, Charlotte. Page 116.
Well, my understanding of this type of consultation is about consulting the residents in the areas if they want to be part of the other area. And yet we've had 90 replies. In Tresbere, there is 5 houses, so it can't be just the residents of Tresbere. Likewise, you got the same from the Grange, which has 3 houses, I believe it's 3 dwellings. There's 2 properties and one has 2 dwellings on it. Wimple has no dwellings at all. And then Broadclist, there's 6. And so the numbers we've got so far do not properly relate to those residents. It seems to be all and sundry putting their comments in. And the whole thing, to me, the whole question is too early, because surely it's a question that should be addressed to the residents themselves when you've got some residents. At the moment, most of the residents are foxes and rabbits and a few deer. It's like, you know...
I believe that people have to give their postcode when they answer a commonplace consultation, don't they? Councillor Jackson, are you able to answer that question, or is it something I pass to Clive, who I believe is online? James might be able to answer. James, are you able to answer this one? Okay. James Brown's going to take this one.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening, members. Thank you. I will try and answer the question. As far as I understand, we do have to capture postcodes as part of a commonplace consultation. But actually, I think the more substantive question is about when is the right time to be putting in place a government boundary for an emerging community. And with the adoption of the Cranbrook Plan and with the subsequent consents that are now being issued, we now have some greater certainty than we did a few years ago as to where the new community is going to be growing into. And therefore, the CGR at this stage is looking to put in place that framework for that revised boundary in light of where we know development is going to be taking place. Does that help?
Peter, Councillor Faithful, are you not satisfied with that answer, I'm guessing?
Well, no, I'm not, because all you have to do is go a few hundred yards down the road of this industrial estate and you come to a stream And once you go over that stream, you're still in the industrial estate. Similarly, the other side of the railway line, you come through a housing estate, you come across a stream, and it seems every bit the same housing estate, but you have changed from Honiton to Gittisham. And everyone seems to accept that. So why do we have to change parish boundaries simply because there's a load of houses there? Why do they have to be in this if the residents themselves don't want to have their boundaries changed? If it's good enough for Gittisham and Honiton, why do we have to change it somewhere else?
I think Anita has indicated she'd like to take this one.
At this point, the process is underway. The council voted to go into the CGR process in February 2025, so there's a statutory timeframe by which the process has to be completed. So there was a discussion to be had about whether it was appropriate to start the process, but council made that decision in February. So at this point, we are duty bound to run the process in accordance with statute.
Thank you, Councillor Faithful. Councillor Barlow, please.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I was just going to say, I presume it's to do with raising money to run all of the very expensive things that are coming to Cranbrook, parks, sands, etc. And if you don't have enough people around to do that in your ward, in your town, how are you going to do that? Bits of the sang would be in one ward, another bit would be in another, and it just wouldn't work. So it makes perfect sense why you're doing it. And that's why we, as you quite rightly pointed out, voted on it earlier.
Councillor Jacks. Oh, he's here. Oh, we could ask Clive to speak. Okay. We actually have the consultant who's able to answer questions as well, who is online. It would be quite nice to bring him in, actually. Clive, can you hear us? Can he hear us? Okay, you might have to unmute yourself, Clive, in order to appear on the screen. No? Okay, all right. Well, technical difficulties may be overriding this one. Right. We might be able to consult Clive at some point in this process if there are any more technical questions, but we can't right now. Right, are there any more questions? Oh, Councillor Jackson, sorry, you want to come back in.
Really, just to address the comments that have been made, you're right. People's views are important in this. That's the whole process that we're following. And Councillor Barlow is also right. There are a lot of different factors that have to be very carefully weighed up in the proposals that move forward. But again, there is another consultation that makes up part of this process that's starting in January. So it's not the only opportunity for people to contribute to the proposals on the table.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Are there any more questions or comments from anywhere in the room? No? Okay. I think maybe people feel that this has been debated enough. You have 4 recommendations before you, which have been proposed and seconded. Are you happy to move to a vote on those? I think so, yeah. Okay, if you're in favour of progressing these 4 recommendations, would you please raise your hand now? If you are against, would you please raise your hand now? And if you wish to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that's largely carried with a couple of abstentions. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, moving on to agenda item 11, which is in your agenda packet from page 146 to 229, recommendations from the Licensing and Enforcement Committee. Now, Councillor Wibley is unfortunately unwell and Councillor Bloxham is away. There was a form of words that Councillor Wibley sent me. Sorry, I'm being disorganised at this point. Has he sent it to anybody else?
I have got that, Chair, if you'd like me to
Would you
read it.
please read it out, Andrew? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the message from Councillor Wibley is this item is our regular update to the licensing policy required by law. This update makes no major changes. It merely updates information such as links for more information, forms and advice. A further update may be required should the recent licensing consultation bring forward any changes in law, but at this point, the document in front of you this evening is designed to maintain the current condition.
Thank you, Andrew. I think in the absence of the chair and the vice chair of that committee, I think I will just move it from the chair, which means it doesn't need a seconder. But would anybody like to ask any questions? Not that we will be able to answer them, I think, in the absence of the chair and vice chair. But any debate? No? Are you happy to vote on them? It seems fairly humdrum to me. Well, not humdrum, obviously. We need to be abreast of the law. Sorry, Councillor Loudon has his head in his hands at this point. I mean, workaday, really. It's not... but you are very welcome to have a debate if you wish to. I'll stop digging now. Right. If you are in favour of accepting this recommendation, would you please raise your hand now? If you are against the recommendation, would you please raise your hand now? And if you'd like to abstain on the recommendation, would you please raise your hand now? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, moving on swiftly to, I'll now stop digging, to agenda item 12, which is recommendation from Cabinet, the leisure strategy addendum. I'm going to invite, I think, Councillor Hookway to present this. It says invite portfolio holder for place, culture, leisure, sport and tourism. That is you.
Yes, fine. Thank
That
you,
is
Chair.
indeed you.
Yes. Since the leisure strategy was introduced, we've had the developments, further developments at Cranbrook and the proposed new community at Malcolm, and we need to make sure that leisure strategy is up to date, and particularly in terms of the leisure centre at Cranbrook. Appendix 1 gives the details, which I'm happy to go and deal with if anybody requires. But I am more than happy to move the recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hookway. Now, is anybody willing to second that recommendation? Councillor Levine, I saw first. Thank you. So we now have a recommendation that is proposed and seconded. Would anybody like to ask any questions of Councillor Hookway or make any comments? I know we've all sat through multiple sessions on this, and so I think members will be well briefed on what it entails. But if anybody still has residual questions, please ask them. No? Are you happy to move to a vote on this? Okay. If you are in favour of accepting the recommendation in this report, would you please raise your hand now? If you were against it, would you please raise your hand now? Are you voting twice, Councillor Bailey? Or is that once? Okay, all right, fantastic. Okay, and if you wish to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? Okay, that's largely carried. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, agenda item 13, recommendations from the Constitutional Working Group. Now, Councillor Jackson, that's you, isn't it? That is you, yes. Would you please propose your recommendations?
Thank you very much. The report before you is a document that's been reviewed a couple of times actually by members of the Constitution Working Group. Thank you to officers and to members of that group who've given this quite extensive attention. Hopefully the council can agree that this is something we can move forward with. It essentially lays out the key responsibilities and powers associated with the council as well as its members and officers. It helps us keep things lawful and following due process. So if I could propose that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jackson. Is anybody willing to second that? Councillor Rickson, I saw first. Right, any questions? Councillor Barlow, then Councillor Faithful, then Councillor Mackinder. In that order. Councillor Barlow, please.
Thank you, Chair. Page 268, 132.3. To enter into business rate pooling arrangements. Could someone please explain what business rate pooling arrangements are, please? Simon.
Oh, who is Simon? This could be a question for you, yes. Our Section 151 officer, Simon Davey. Thank you.
Okay. Where to start? So pooling arrangements are in connection with the business rate retention scheme, whereby you keep some of your business rates. You can do that across Devon in a pool arrangement, which benefits Devon as a whole in terms of the whole scheme. So it gives me the ability to enter into that scheme if it's a financial benefit to the council.
Does that answer your question, address your question, Councillor Barlow?
I trust Simon Davey totally that he would not do anything that wouldn't be to our best interest. I was just interested what it was. So we share the interest, I presume, then. Is that the idea?
You share the growth across Devon, but it works well if you've got authorities that are growing faster, but also are in a deficit position as well. So county county take money from the business rate reserve. That helps the calculation in terms of the amount that can stay in Devon, and then we split it across districts, the county and the unitary. So it's worked in the past particularly well for all authorities in Devon. We've applied to enter the pool for 26-27. We can come out of that, and it will depend on the final settlement that will be released end of January, whether it's worth us to remain or not. But there is a calculation. Each authority can work out whether it's beneficial or not. You have to agree as Devon as a whole, so that each of the chief finance officers look at that modelling, agree amongst ourselves whether it's beneficial or not, and we have always agreed on the same answer. And we'll make that decision based on the final settlement.
Through you, Chair, I'm sure that Mr Davey is always looking after the best interests of East Devon. Has no other interests that he would rather look after. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Councillor Barlow. Councillor Faithful, please. Then Councillor Mackinder.
I did bring it up with Melanie. 13424 in relation to South West Water Authority.
Do you have a page number, Peter? Do you have a page number?
I don't know the page number. I just got the number here. It's one of the document, the Constitution. It's 13424 in relation to South West Water Authority, which stopped being in existence in 1989. So I mean,
okay, so
Melanie
that's a typo then, I guess. I'm mistyping. Where are we? Page 200. 280. 80.
Just 280.
Okay, so we need to update that. The Southwest Water, it's just Southwest Water rather than Southwest Water. Yes, Councillor Loudon.
Just to reassure members, Councillor Faithful did bring this up at the Leaders Liaison on yesterday, and officers did note it. So it is in the system, Peter. Thank you for reiterating that.
It's 13424, isn't it? Yes. And where it says Southwest Water Authority, which is a body that no longer exists. Yes. Okay. So it should be just Southwest Water, I guess.
No, because it was an authority and they're not anymore.
Okay. So that's an amendment. Thank you.
We are aware.
Okay, so we're aware that we are dealing with that. So, Councillor Jackson, do you need to come in now, or can you come in after Councillor Mackinder? It's Councillor Jackson.
It was really only to say the recommendation 2 gives delegated authority to make those sorts of changes, and appreciate you saying that. And I remember you mentioning that in our working group, in all fairness to Councillor Faithful, but I'm sure we can make a note and include that in those changes as they come forward.
Thank you, and of course it has been minuted now, so thank you very much, Peter. That will be amended. Councillor Mackinder, please.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst reviewing the changes, a lot of which show in red, I've got a few general points. I won't itemise them all because you don't want to hear all of this, but maybe I could transmit them afterwards to the Democratic Services Officer and also to Councillor Jackson. There are 3 sorts of things that I've noticed. There are a number of sections in red that say move to Director of Governance or some other section. It would have been helpful for us reading it if they'd actually physically moved those paragraphs, maybe left a note behind saying, the stuff that was here has now gone over there. I noticed there are a number of places where there's been a change of the word member to councillor, and that was quite deliberate, but there are a few places where that's been missed. So there are a couple of sections where that didn't happen. And there are just 1 or 2 other minor typographical things. So if we're going to vote on this is our updated document, then could we also add a rider to that we will give the Democratic Services Officer, together with the policyholder, the ability to make some of these minor typographical
I mean,
changes.
that is the second recommendation, Councillor Mackinder. So the reply is the same as to Councillor Faithful in that, thank you very much for that, those comments. If you could send them in, that would be very helpful, I'm sure, and they can be updated using the second recommendation powers, which will be transferred. Okay, are there any more questions or comments or no? Okay, are you happy to move to a vote on this? Fantastic. If you are willing to vote yes, I've forgotten my form of words there all of a sudden, got thrown off course. Councillor Sarah, Councillor Jackson.
Sorry, I don't have a seconder yet.
We do have a seconder. Councillor, who seconded? Councillor Rickson seconded. Yes, yes, because we don't move into debate now. It's actually much healthier to not move into debate until we've got a seconder, because then at least we know it's been seconded. Right. So if you are happy to adopt these recommendations, and including the powers to amend typos, etc., would you please raise your hand now? If you wish to vote against that, would you please raise your hand now? And if you wish to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that is largely carried with one abstention. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, this is back to Sarah, Councillor Jackson. Agenda item 14, pages 294 to 301, recommendation from the Constitutional Working Group about codes and protocols for the Council's petition scheme. Councillor Jackson, over to you again.
Thank you very much. Hat trick tonight. Does what it says on the tin. This has been through overview already. Constitution Working Group looked at it actually in 2 occasions. Once before overview, reviewed it, and then after that, once they'd had an opportunity to make any further changes. And it really sets a framework so that we can run petitions on our own site, which gives members of the public a really clear route forwards when they want to raise issues of concern. So just hope that I can get council's support to progress with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jackson. Does anybody wish, Councillor Hall, are you wishing to second this? I was about to ask for a seconder.
Oh, sorry, no. Well, I can second it, yes.
Okay, so Councillor Anne Hall is willing to second.
Yeah, and I do have a question.
Okay, well, we are going to have some questions in a moment, Anne, so you'll be very pleased to hear that. Okay, so the motion is now proposed and seconded. We're going to move into debate. Question, Councillor Anne Hall, please.
Thank you, Chair. Quick question. When is the e-petition going to become live? Because it has become forward in overview, but I haven't seen it live online yet. Where are we at, please?
I think Andrew, you can take this one, can't you? I think. Can we avoid chuntering, please?
So the e-petition scheme, we're working with Strata to get that up onto the website. Currently working on the preparation of a data protection impact assessment. Once that assessment is completed and now the policy, or if the protocol is also approved, we can look to go live in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but bearing in mind we are over the Christmas period, so it might be just into the new year, but we are pretty much there, ready to go with the e-petition, so members of the public would have the ability to submit petitions electronically through our website rather than having to do a paper-based one.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I know that many members of the public would welcome this. Councillor Barlow and then Councillor Mackinder, please.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, it says that we'll be bringing it in shortly. I just wanted to say that this has been brought up a year ago and then again, and it was promised, and there was a problem that it wasn't coming up because it was August holiday. So here we are at the Christmas holiday now, still being held up. So we can say that it will definitely be in place by the end of January.
Hostage to fortune coming up. I believe there's quite a lot of things to get in position. Andrew. I think that's possibly something that I might ask Andrew to find out and get back to you in writing on.
Thank you, that'll be fine.
Okay, fantastic. Councillor Mackinder.
Thank you, Chair. Just a small pedantic one, given that these are instructions for the public to raise these. Page 299, section 5.2 has the words link to. Obviously, that needs to be a link to the real e-petition site, and so that needs to be fixed before it goes out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mackinder. I'm pretty certain it will be destruction tested in-house before going live. Not literally, I hope. Does anybody else have any more questions? No? Are you happy to move to a debate, a vote on this? Okay, if you're willing to vote in favour of this recommendation, would you please raise your hand now? If you'd like to vote against it, would you please raise your hand now? And if you'd like to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that is nearly unanimous, but not quite. Thank you, Councillor Collins. Thank you for your vote, everybody. Right, moving on, not so swiftly, but swiftly actually, to agenda item 15, which is agenda pages 302 to 306 in your agenda pack. Recommendations from the Independent Remuneration Panel. Andrew, I believe you're presenting this report.
Yes, thank you very much. So in that July Council, members received the scheme of allowances and some revisions to allowances, special responsibility allowances. Following the conclusion of that meeting, one of the recommendations was to review whether the Vice Chair of the Strategic Planning Committee should be eligible for an allowance, given the workload associated with all things around strategic planning. And at the time, the document that you received in July didn't contain the family-friendly policies, which it should have done. That needs to be updated on the website. So the recommendations that you have before you are that the Vice Chair of the Strategic Planning receives a basic allowance based on 50% of the Licensing and Enforcement Committee Chair's allowance, which is 1,810. The IRP used that comparison as their basis because, as you'll know, the Strategic Planning Committee is chaired by Councillor Olive as the Cabinet member, so there wasn't an allowance to go off for that. And then also the second recommendation in the report is just to allow the monitoring officer to make any minor changes to the scheme of allowances before publication on the website. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I know Councillor Olive indicated that he wished to come in. Does anybody have any questions for Andrew on this before I move to Councillor Olive? Nope. Okay, Councillor Olive, please.
Thank you, Chair. I very simply wanted to propose the recommendations in the report.
I was about to ask if anybody wished to propose them, but I was also going to ask the portfolio holder for, hang on, this is a ridiculous title, Council Corporate Coordination and External Engagement, if you wish to propose the recommendation.
Chair, I have got 2 spades in the back of my car if you wish to use both of them this evening. As the ridiculous portfolio holder, I'm happy to second. Thank you, Chair.
Right, so Councillor Egghead has proposed, Councillor Olive has proposed. Right, we now have a recommendation which is duly proposed and seconded. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Would anybody like to ask any questions? Does anybody have any comments they wish to make? No? Everybody's very keen to get to the end of this meeting for some reason. Oh, Leader, do you have something?
Well, no, just to agree entirely with Councillor Olive, and it is long overdue, and I fear it's an Independent Remuneration Panel recommendation. It does seem a bit stingy as well, to be honest, but the current holder has put in a superb innings, and I hope he'll take this small amount in the spirit in which it's intended. But everybody who's involved in planning, both the planning committee, for which I think there is an allowance for vice chair, isn't there, and strategic planning, does more reading than the rest of us, in truth. And then we seem to have some wonderful thing going off. But just to endorse the idea, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Leader. I remember from my time on strategic planning, the 7-hour meetings. So frequent 7-hour meetings and more. Whoever, I don't know whose phone is going off, but please, can you quiet it? Thank you. Right, does anybody have any more questions? No? Are you happy to move to a vote on this? If you'd like to vote in favour of these 2 recommendations, would you please raise your hand now? If you'd like to vote against them, would you please raise your hand now? And if you'd like to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that is unanimously carried, I think. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, agenda item 16, which is pages 307 to 322 in your agenda pack, which is a report which I think, Andrew, you're introducing, aren't you? No? Yes? No? No, actually, sorry, no, it's not you. No, it's not you. It is actually Councillor Hayward. You're down here to propose the motion. Would you like to say any words as well? I mean, the thumbs up is great, but they can't hear it on the YouTube feed.
I'd be delighted to, Chair. I suppose a couple of things just to jog my memory. I should make a declaration of interest that I am a Devon County Councillor now, so that's just a nominal, it's an effects NRI, I guess, but we are writing to Devon, so effectively it might be discussed at Devon. The other one, if I could ask Andrew, if it's okay, to just either when this goes out or the thing, just to amend the portfolios. It still says finance and assets. If it could just be amended just for the purpose of veracity, that would be very kind. Thank you. Well, this recommendation, this agenda item is a bit of a Ronseal one. It does what it says on the tin. Everyone in this room will know that in this part of the world, in Devon, in the southwest, broadband in certain areas is deplorably slow. Essentially, this is one of your key services. You know, if you've got gas, you've got electric, you've got water, less said about that, the better. But essentially, you need broadband, you need internet to manage any facet of modern day life, whether you want to entertain yourself, fill in forms, do anything. And poor connectivity is holding back education, it holds back people's enjoyment of lives, holds back commerciality in our economy. And it needs to be improved. The story of better broadband, CDS, goes back a long time through Devon County Council, and it's probably not the best time now to recap on that. Certainly, the leadership at Devon County Council and the Cabinet Member for Rural Affairs is certainly keen to improve it, but some things that they can do are out with of their control. It's an industry controlled by commercial organisations who have to be cajoled and perhaps forced to do it at the end of a scrutiny committee or a government inquiry. But that said, you have 4 recommendations. The second one, the 2 write to the Minister for Telecoms and East Devon's MPs. I have spoken to some of the MPs for East Devon, but obviously writing formally is the next phase. And you'll see within the reason for recommendations, members have an opportunity to reflect on the findings and help feed into portfolio holders' letter. Certainly, if any members here have particular cases or case studies that they wish to send through to myself and to Tom, please do, because we can use those as cases to specifically point out how we are suffering in this part of the world and being held back. It's not right, it's not fair. So I propose, I'm delighted to propose these 4 recommendations, and again invite members, if you have any insight, please do send it through and we'll make sure it's incorporated and therefore it becomes a true cross-party motion. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to seek a seconder. Thank you very much, Councillor Hayward. I'm going to seek a seconder. Councillor Bruce had his hand up first. So are you seconding, Councillor Bruce?
Yes, Chair, with a passion.
Yes, I think those of us who represent more rural wards will definitely share this passion. Yes, absolutely. We absolutely have to have broadband for daily life these days. It's not a luxury anymore, it's a daily necessity, especially with banks shutting. Councillor Bruce, do you want to say some more?
Just, I will pass on some of my experiences to the member across the table, Mr. Jackson. One example I wouldn't mind sharing with you right now is that I went through the process of, I think it's the obligation service provider system with BT, where you basically ask them to assess your property for whether they can link you to fibre. Because there's the government grant of £3,400 available towards that cost. I was fortunately sitting down when I received the phone call to tell me that in order to connect my property to the nearest location would cost between £50,000 and £60,000. I obviously didn't pursue that because I'm the only property that would benefit from that particular system. But I will pass on some of my other experiences to help process this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bruce. I'm sure that's something that some of us will recognise. Right, I think Councillor Jackson, did you want to second the proposal? Did you want to speak?
I was looking to second, but I think we all know that the world is moving towards a digital world, and unless we pull the levers available to us to try and encourage that connectivity, we're doing our residents a disservice. So I fully support this proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. And I know Councillor King, who's about to speak next, is very much focused on this issue as well. In fact, that's how he became involved in politics, I believe. Councillor King, have you got something to add?
Yes, thank you. I think I have to declare an interest insofar as connecting Devon and Somerset originated from something that I started in 2003, which was connecting Southwest when I was with the Regional Development Agency. The point I wanted to make was, in here there's an accurate observation, a recording from the survey, that the credibility of connecting Devon and Somerset has diminished hugely. And I need to point out that it is a vehicle for attracting investment. It was. If I can just give a bit of background, Connecting Southwest, which was then taken over in 2008 by Connecting Devon and Somerset, based in Somerset, its sole purpose was to act as a magnet for the altogether about 37 different investment streams from the different councils and other authorities to come into play under the one banner of Connecting Southwest. And then BT at that time was very interested in riding with that to invest. BT later slightly disgraced themselves, and they weren't the only runner as a result. Openreach took over, and a peculiarity of Openreach is that they are wholesale. They do not deal with retail customers like you or me or businesses. So they are not well versed in addressing issues that we are concerned with, because they deal with the telephone companies. You need to bear that in mind when you realize you're reaching a roadblock or just can't understand what's going on. So accountability, that's the first point I want to make. Connecting Devon and Somerset can't be accountable. The management of it was taken on by Devon County Council proper to really administer the projects which are given under contract to 3 suppliers. And I ought to declare also that I was on the panel that helped to advise on the choice of those. One of them gave up because they just ran out of money. They had no idea how expensive it was going to be. It's like herding cats. The difficulty is because we do not have what used to be called a universal service obligation. There is no one authority that can be told to get something done. It's very, very difficult. I won't go on anymore. It's just that I wanted to point out how elusive the entire project is for rolling out broadband. The remark just now about £50,000 odd to connect to, I presume, a very good connection going across nearby land. The reason why it's so expensive is that you need to have what is called a point of presence. And that may be a long way away, even though you've got mainstream communications very nearby. There are all sorts of technical complications behind the scenes, which we don't see, but they come into bear. And the final point is that people like Openreach, they still have a monumental scale of charges for anything they do, which is luckily why private enterprises come into play. So I just wanted to add that to the comments about the reports, because I think it's important to think of expectations and to perhaps be a bit more accurate in knowing where to put your energy. Thank you.
It sounds, Councillor King, as though you might be a fount of information should, in the drafting of these letters. So I'm sure, thank you very much for your contribution, and I'm sure the points are noted and people will be knocking on your door asking for more information. Right, now, who else would like to say something? Councillor Faithful, I've got you down, and then I've got Councillor Barlow, and then the leader. Oh, Councillor Barlow does no one know. Okay, so no Councillor Barlow, but Councillor Heath after the leader. So Faithful, leader, Heath. Hall.
Thank you.
Which one?
Really?
Go for it.
Basically, just 2 words, equal opportunities. And can we please state equal opportunities, because it is a legal thing, isn't it? Equal opportunities. Just saying all this is not fair, but if we can actually make those statements, I think it would make more clout.
Thank you, Councillor Faithful. Leader, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think all county members have got a blanket dispensation where we don't actually have to declare an NRI, but so I won't. But I really welcome this initiative from Councillor Hayward. He's been knocking at this door for years effectively. The nub of it, I can't get anywhere near the competency of Councillor King and what he had to say. The essence of the problem is, in Germany, they went and did the most difficult properties first, and then they went out into the lowest hanging fruit. That's what we should have done in this country. How do we get back to that position somehow? Well, through Councillor Hayward, hopefully we've got the county and this district, and I'm sure other districts, getting ready to push in the same direction. So I really welcome this motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Heath, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just a short sort of observation, leading on from what Fabian said. I don't know whether this applies to other parts of East Devon, but in Beer, they're known as out of reach rather than open reach.
Crumbs. There's the headline. Right, Councillor Hall, please. I don't know, it was Matt Hall, wasn't it?
Thank you. I 100% support this. I just think that there is an and to this. My real fear is that due to costs, the rollout of broadband will actually be replaced by 5G and 6G from 2030 onwards, which in a rural community such as East Devon, where 4G at times is something of a wishful thinking, I think we just need to expand this perhaps just a little bit more, which I'm sure Councillor Hayward would do.
Thank you. I know that I have constituents who have 0.5 megabit per second connections. Councillor Hayward, please.
Thank you, Chair. To follow on from Councillor Hall's point, yes, indeed, there is a concurrent thread, complaint, observation with East Devon MPs about mobile signals, cellular signals, and that one particular operator, it'd be unfair to name them in a public forum, but in the Axminster area, admits that their mast hasn't worked for the last 5 years. You can barely achieve anything. You know, as you say, 4G is a pipe dream for some. You can barely connect calls and send text messages. And yet, when challenged with the fact that each of their customers is paying a not inconsiderable sum every single month, what are they paying for? They're paying for a service that they've admitted they're not going to fix because it's not cost effective for them. And that's what we're up against. It's the blasé attitude of, frankly, commercial organisations who don't care, won't care, until they're hauled in front of someone who has the power to compel them to do it with a penalty attached. So I thank everyone for their observations. You know, if you have in your own wards and your own areas issues, please, you know, write to your district, your MPs, your county councillors, and the more we bang that drum and the more we can send that message up. Yes, there's a sort of an acceptance that nothing will change. Well, it must change because this is the way the future. And if you're going to say, well, it's going to have to be mobile connectivity, 5G, 6G, you know, for anyone who listen, I will say I was in, you know, the island of Sardinia. It's in the middle of, frankly, the Mediterranean Ocean. It's an island. And yet 5G, wherever you went, 5G signal, because that's investment. That's people thinking of the future. We don't even need to think about, you know, the states of Singapore and such like. you know, and it's just so frustrating that no one can compel these faceless organisations to do what we're paying for. It's not like we're asking them for a favour, we're paying for this already. So thank you all, happy to, thank you to Councillor Bruce for seconding, and for those who've spoken. We'll just keep banging this drum and pushing as hard as we can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hayward. I mean, having recently seen a documentary about a not insignificant number of people on Exmoor who were never connected to the national grid and still in 2025 do not have mains electricity, I'm afraid my hopes are not high that the really intractable people will find a solution in a commercial, from a commercial organisation. And we have to take this seriously. And it's extraordinary that there will be people without those basic services in this day and age. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, Councillor Rixham, you have a contribution to make.
Well, I've just looked up about Estonia because they've got a fantastic reputation for doing a lot of things digitally. And it says, Estonia's broadband infrastructure is a testament to its commitment to digital transformation. The country has achieved a high level of broadband penetration with 94.9% accessing fixed broadband, etc. And the government's target is to reach full gigabit coverage by 2030. Where's the ambition of our government?
Well, a very good question. We'll leave that one hanging. I know that in the streets of South Korea, there is 20 megabit per second open network. And we know those of us who live in the countryside in East Devon can but dream of that from a fixed line. Right. Does anybody have anything more they wish to say? Okay, all right. We have a motion that is, with 4 recommendations that is proposed and seconded. If you are happy to vote in favour of these recommendations, would you please raise your hand now? If you'd like to vote against, would you please raise your hand now? And if you'd like to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that is unanimous. There are a few things that will unite this council, but I think good broadband is one of them. So thank you very much, everybody. Right. Last but not least, and I'm afraid you've had such a long and slightly interesting wait, but in agenda item 17, motion on notice, which is the motion for the ocean. Right, I'm going to invite Councillor Heath to speak to this motion and his seconder, Councillor Aurora Bailey. And if you are a seconder of that motion, you may wish to say something, or you may wish to defer until after you've heard the debate. So Councillor Heath, would you take us away, please, and explain your motion to us?
Thank you, Chair. The Local Government Ocean Recovery Declaration, a model motion to help local authorities play their part in realising a clean, healthy and productive ocean and all of the direct economic, health and wellbeing benefits it will bring. I was contacted by a resident in my ward last month. I note that 34 councils supported the motion from November 2021 until the present, and the Local Government Association declared a motion for the ocean on the 29th of September 2022. I'd like to thank Grace from the Ocean Conservation Trust for attending tonight to speak on the motion. Local authorities are working hard to bring about a brighter future for the communities we serve. We work to boost local economies, improve community health and well-being, and to protect and enhance local biodiversity. We know that the health, well-being and prosperity of coastal estuarine and maritime communities is dependent upon a clean, healthy and productive marine environment. Yet too often we consider these issues separately rather than thinking about them in a joined up way. So why is it important for councils to pass a motion for the ocean? We recognise that our oceans and climates are in a state of emergency and that the communities we serve are on the front line. An ocean in crisis is not only bad news for our climate, but also for our fishing, tourism, marine industries, and for the health, well-being and stable prosperity of our coastal, estuarine and maritime communities. There are more opportunities for economic development in the marine environment, but these must be harnessed in a regenerative rather than damaging way. Developing the pledges set out in the motion for the ocean would yield new jobs and opportunities, more resilient coastal economies and happier, healthier people, as well as a cleaner, healthier, more productive natural environment. A healthy ocean is an essential ally in our fight against climate change and blue carbon could play an integral role in helping us meet our net zero target. I just want to add something to this, if I may, as well, without wishing to take up too much time. I've been speaking to Councillor Jeff Young, who is obviously enjoying his birthday party tonight, so he tells me, and best wishes to him for that. But he added that there is a motion that was proposed to Devon County Council on the 4th of December by my colleague, Councillor Jess Bailey, and that is recognising the rights of rivers in Devon. It was a minute reference 38 of the 4th of September this year. This council, that's Devon County Council, recognises that rivers are central to Devon's ecology, heritage and future sustainability. And in East Devon, of course, it's home to some outstanding rivers, including the Otter, Axe, Sid and Exe. And these waterways support wildlife, livelihoods, recreation, community well-being. Yet access to the UK and here in Devon, rivers face mounting threats from pollution, over-abstraction, habitat loss and climate change. Now, I think it's relevant to join Councillor Young's suggestion to sign both motions, because looking after what is dumped in our watercourses is the best way we can, as a local authority, protect our oceans. So I definitely agree with his addition here. The ocean policy was agreed back in 2022 by Devon County Council and written by leading experts at Exeter University, so is already very local to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heath. Councillor Bailey, do you wish to speak now, or do you want to wait until, would you like to second the?
I'll speak now, thank you, Chair. I'd like to second the motion, please, for Councillor Heath. With the climate emergency, we need to encase all of it. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bailey. Right, now, moving into debate. Now, I don't know if any of the signatories to this motion have anything specific they'd like to say. Right, I saw Councillor Loudon, who indicated he wanted to speak, and then I saw Councillor Barlow, and then Councillor Bruce, I think.
Thank you, Chair. I like your advice. I'm reading this motion, and I'm not sure what we're meant to do. It's not inviting us to do anything. It talks about doing something, and the most I can see is we welcome the opportunity to support DCC colleagues, etc., and we'll work in conjunction with all signatories to play our continued part, etc. Is that committing us to anything? There's an emotion attached that Councillor Heath has talked about. I see nothing there that commits us to that motion. I'm struggling to see what this is, other than we note this with interest.
Thank you, Councillor Loudon. Councillor Heath, is there an ask in this motion?
Yes, I'm asking us to support Devon County Council in the motion for the ocean, as bearing in mind this is a coastal community, one of considerable historical note. I think it's important that we nail our colours to the mast, and we support this motion because it's essential that we preserve our oceans and our rivers, actually, because the pollution allied to climate change is damaging our climate and will also affect not only our children, but in particular our grandchildren. So I think it's hugely important that as a council, we stand up and be counted along with the 34 other councils that have already signed this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heath. I believe that Councillor Arnott might have something he wishes to contribute.
Yes, thank you very much for letting me in slightly out of order, Chair. So obviously hugely welcome what Councillor Heath has said here. And I think there is more significance with respect to Councillor Loudon in that last paragraph. I know it doesn't look like a formal recommendation that might be realised. Councillor Heath is quite right. In 2022's February that Devon County also passed the motion for the ocean. I too am absolutely delighted that Grace Clifford has come forward today. I think the spirit of what's intended from Councillor Heath and his supporters, he's almost alluded to already. So Councillor Jess Bailey, had the Rivers Motion, Rights for Rivers Motion, that was only last week at Devon County. There is a water portfolio holder at Devon County as well. Devon County will be receiving a report, which is hoped to be an almost definitive report of the state of water-related matters in Devon, not confined to the ocean, but also rivers, land, and issues that we may not realise, like, for example, the potential shortage of water because of the lack of infrastructure moving forward. So I think this sends a fantastic signal, and it's part of a theme tonight from the broadband motion and other items that we, because we can, should work closer as councils on this. This council had a fantastic water summit in November 2023 at the Science Park, where a lot of stakeholders were invited. I know the idea at Devon County is to do another water summit, but on a much greater scale. And I think members here would be, and representative officers and members who've shown an interest in this should play a key part in that summit as well. So I welcome that motion. So I hope those few facts help there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Right, okay. Councillor Barlow, please, you're next.
Thank you, Chair. I was basically going to say what Councillor Loudon said, but I was a little bit more concerned that we have enough problems with money at the moment, supplying officers, time, etc. They're very busy. They have lots on at the moment. We have lots of things we want to do. And it says here that, you know, the way I read it, the council pledges to report to full council within 12 months the actions and projects will begin as an ocean recovery. It's a bit like the climate emergency. If you declare an emergency, I've obviously got it wrong because everyone's shaking their heads, but if you declare a climate emergency, you need to back it up with action and money and resources. And I just wonder, you know, I know we're going to pass this. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. We already protect the waters. We have all the rules in place to do that. It's another thing that, yes, you're going to send a message to Devon County Council. So I'm very happy to support it. I just want to make sure that we're not signing ourselves up to something that we can't deliver on because we don't have the officer power to do it. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Barlow. So it's worth highlighting that actually the ask is to support county in a fairly unresourced way, I think I would describe it as, and also that we are doing quite a lot that is within our purview to ensure the cleanliness of our coasts and well, as much as we can at the moment. And the work is ongoing. Okay, right. Who else did I have? I had Councillor Bruce, please. You're one of the signatories. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, Chair. Somewhat ironic that the BBC have launched the war between the land and the sea this weekend, which seemed to be a bang-on message as we're debating it tonight. It's just by way of an observation, really. I've been working in the sort of nearshore marine environment for some years now, and when I first conducted a survey in the Fleet Lagoon back in the late 1990s, the organism I studied, a little thing called an ostracod, they're semi-transparent animals, 1 to 2 millimeters across, so quite tiny. And I have continued that survey, and it's still current this year, but the shock I had this year was the samples I was studying. Remember, they're semi-transparent. They now contain little fragments of plastic. These animals are consumed by small fish, fry, and so onwards up the chain. And it was a complete shock to see what I saw down the microscope. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that contribution, Councillor Bruce. So you can actually see fragments of plastic in their bodies. Right, not good news. Right, Councillor Faithful.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I'm actually in support of what Councillor Loudon stated, and I would like to put forward an amendment to the motion. They normally start with the words that this council will, la-di-da-di-da, about 1-2 sentences right at the start, and that is what we're looking for. We don't need lectures on environmental this and plastic and the other. What we're looking for is specific wording in the motion so we know specifically what we're voting for. So can we please have that sentence put in at the start? I'm sure everyone is in support of what we're hearing, but we need the wording to vote for it. Thank you.
Well, if Councillor Loudon and Councillor Faithful would like 5 minutes to come up with an amendment. No, okay. Okay, all right. If you have a specific amendment you'd like to suggest, Peter, then I'm very happy to hear it.
I've just said it. I mean, the start of the sentence
Okay,
is with
so-
that this council will.
Okay.
Exactly what you follow it up with, that's for them to put forward. But, you know, this is what we want.
I understand
a
now.
clear
Okay.
statement.
All right. Now, I suppose if I go back to Councillor Heath, would you be happy with that amendment?
Well, what I would be happy with is that we will support Devon County Council because this is, it's like broadband. It's an essential necessity for us in a different kind of sphere to protect our environment because, as Councillor Bruce alluded to, we are polluting our oceans and polluting our rivers.
Yes. So
I won't go into what the environmental
Councillor
agency
Heath,
do
Councillor
because
Heath.
that's another matter. But the thing is, we need to support.
Councillor
I think,
Heath, I think it's very, very likely that the vote will be unanimous. I don't want to preempt that, but what Councillor Loudon and Councillor Faithful, and to a certain extent Councillor Barlow, are rightly pointing out, is that there isn't actually a specific ask, and they're just asking for a slight rewording of the final paragraph so that it reads that this council will support Devon County Council. And so I'm asking you whether you would accept that as an amendment, because if you are willing to accept that as an amendment and your seconder is willing to accept that as an amendment, then it's less messy at this stage. Did you have your microphone on just then, Councillor Heath? Councillor Bailey, are you happy to accept the amendment?
Yes, I'm happy, Chair. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for those who made that a bit sharper. And thank you for accepting the amendment because it's a lot simpler when the proposer and the seconder do that. Right, now then, we have a few more speakers. We have Councillor Faithful, you've already spoken. Councillor Fernley, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to channel my inner Jeff Young now. And we absolutely welcome this motion for the ocean. Already there's a lot of work going on in this council to help with our rivers. We know our rivers, the rivers lead to the ocean. So one of the things you need to start with is the rivers. We've got stuff going on in the Axe, and we've got the nutrient neutrality triple Axe project. It's all a bit of a model, but we've got a lot going on in the Axe. You didn't mention the Clyst. It's a lovely river in East Devon, so don't forget the Clyst. And yeah, we've got lots of lovely rivers. I was at the Clyst Valley Regional Park Board meeting today where we were discussing things that are going on in the Clyst, working with the National Trust. Everyone there was very supportive of what is being done. There's £25,000 being spent on supporting river quality in the Clyst Valley area. So we are doing quite a lot of stuff. And don't forget all our really wonderful waste and recycling that we are trying to do to prevent stuff going into the rivers that go into the ocean. And we lend out litter pickers. Did people know that? You can actually borrow East Devon's litter pickers, which can help collecting this plastic that we don't want to go into the ocean. So I absolutely welcome what this motion is about, and I don't think we should underestimate what we are actually already doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fernley. I'm often reminded of how better connected other communities in the world can be when I'm walking around in the mountains in France or in Spain and the drains are labelled, the sea starts here. So people are being made aware of that everything they throw away on the ground can end up in the sea eventually. And I think that's possibly something that we could consider long term as a country, make people conscious that, you know, we're all connected to the sea, whether we live next to it or not. Councillor Rickson, to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to point out that the blurb in the motion refers to the world's ocean. And I would just like to comment the following. It's because it's not just councils who can play a part in ocean recovery. This is a national government issue. And the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction High Ambition Coalition has been signed by members from all continents, co-chaired by Palau, Seychelles and the European Union. Please note that 2/3 of northern EU waters continue to suffer from overexploitation, severe depletion or outright collapse. And according to the European Environment Agency, only 28% of assessed stocks are sustainably fished and in good biological condition, with clear regional disparities. These conditions are met by 41% of stocks in the northeastern Atlantic and Baltic Sea, compared to 9%, I kid you not, 9% in the Mediterranean and Black Sea. Urgent action is obviously required. There is good news, though. I would like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge the valuable and pioneering work that has already been undertaken locally by the fishermen of Lyme Bay, including Beer and Axmouth. It is now 15 years since the Lyme Bay Marine Protected Area was designated, the first in the UK, providing a win-win model for fishing and conservation. Research by Plymouth University shows that marine habitats have revived, contributing to a considerable measure of rare species and many fish stocks. In effect, this has provided a gold standard for marine protected areas. The Lyme Bay Reserve is a template for sustainable fishing, not just in UK inshore waters, but other areas which choose to adopt a similar approach.
Thank you, Councillor Rickson. Councillor Hayward, you're next, please.
Thank you, Chair. Wholly in support of anything that protects and helps the ocean recover. I take Councillor Faithful and Councillor Loudon's point. Essentially, a motion has to direct this council to do something with this bit of simple change of the word. I think it can do it. I'm grateful to the speaker earlier who spoke in support of this motion. There is always a risk that motions such as this can be viewed externally as being a bit performative. And I went through the list of councils that had supported this and was intrigued to see Newark and Sherwood. Now, I know Newark and Sherwood quite well. And in their motion, they say, wherever you live in the UK, we are never more than 70 miles from the ocean. Well, pretty much Newark is on the cusp of. I mean, you've got to go a long way from Newark to get to Skegness if you want to go to Skegness. No disrespect to Skegness Council. So I thought, and then you look at the template motion, and it simply says, the importance that the ocean has on our community. I can't really see what the importance of the ocean has to Newark, but then I read their motion, and they have adapted it wonderfully. Because, as Councillor Fernley says, the Trent goes straight to the ocean. In Axminster, we have two rivers that merge. Wonderful word, confluence, great word. And then they go to the ocean. So we all have a part to play, and certainly East Devon has, we're pretty much virtually all coastal. So I'm delighted to be here and help support this with a bit of creativity and wordplay. I think we can support it. We can support Devon, we can support other districts, and we can support the general principle of looking after the ocean. I'm not a fish eater, I don't like fish, but I entirely agree from Councillor Bruce's point that having plastic in our food is not ideal, and the more we can do to eradicate that, the better. So fully in support, as long as the wording can be changed. Thank you, Chair.
Well, the wording has been changed because the amendment was accepted by the proposer and seconder, so be reassured. Councillor Olive, you are up next, and then Councillor Roy Collins, and then Councillor Matt Hall, and then unless anybody after Councillor Hall has Councillor Ragg. Yes, I'm just adding you because you represent a coastal community. But beyond that, I think we should possibly agree that we probably mostly agree with it and stop contributions. So, Councillor Olive, Councillor Roy Collins, Councillor Matt Hall, and then Councillor Ragg, and then we'll call it a day. Councillor Olive, please.
Thank you, Chair. My points have already been made by others, so I will surrender my time. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Todd. Councillor Collins, please.
Thank you, Chair. National Highways, they own 23 acres of land at Moncton, which has been more or less derelict now for 10 years at least. They had various plans to put reed beds in there to clean the water from the A30. Now, perhaps some of you don't realise there's quite a lot of plastic end up in tyres, and it gets ground off, all these micro bits are ground off on the road, and they end up in the river and then in the ocean. But pressure needs to be put on national highways to make them do what they purchased the land for in the first place, and that was to clean the water before it went into the River Otter. A second point I'd like to make, 5 years ago, all the major supermarkets, they agreed to stop wrapping vegetables in plastic, swedes and things like that. You go in the supermarket and try and find vegetables that are not in plastic. You don't need to put 3 or 4 bananas in a plastic bag. They're quite happy in your shopping bag without having to be in plastic. They've not carried out their commitment they made 5 years ago. We need action, not, it's a lovely motion, I agree with the motion, but I'd like to see some meeting and some action. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Collins, and thank you for the historical aspect of the cleaning the water washing off the A30. That is useful information. Thank you. Right, now, Councillor Matt Hall, please, and then Councillor Ragg, and then we're calling it a day.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to support this. And I think I would hope that nearly all of us in this room have been and seen some of the pictures of how plastic particularly affects the wildlife in the ocean. I think sometimes, you know, I understand Councillor Barlow's point about, you know, sort of projects and money, etc. And do we have it? But sometimes it's about raising people's awareness. It's not just as simple as thinking that a plastic bottle in one of our rivers causes localized issues. It has the potential for far-reaching consequences. I believe from very basic research that UK plastic has found its way to the Arctic. UK plastic, I believe, has been illegally dumped, that has ended up near Turkey. And even a very tiny speck in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, called Henderson Island, which we own, is home to a reported 37.7 million pieces of plastic, which if it's going to be cleared up, it's us as taxpayers that will pay for that. We need to raise this. Our oceans are not and should not be a dumping ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. I'm sure a sentiment shared by us all. Councillor Ragg, please.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I wonder how many councillors here have watched the new series on Sunday evenings on BBC One, The War Between the Land and the Sea. It's graphically explicit. It's quite disturbing when, for instance, these sea creatures are anxious to protect the ocean, and a human says, I would do anything to do it. We've got to clear this up. So the sea creatures dumped all the rubbish that was in the sea now back on the land. It's quite stunning, including the Titanic, can you believe? So it's well worth a watch. It's on again next Sunday, but well worth a watch. It's thought-provoking. I haven't ever watched one episode of Doctor Who because I don't like sci-fi, but this has elements of truth. In fact, the basis of this is reality. It's not fiction. And it's well worth seeing. If it doesn't make people think, then I don't know what else will. But I really would recommend this programme to you. It's one of the better ones that the BBC put out. They do put out some good stuff. But anyway, it really is quite stunning.
Thank
The
you very much,
photography
Councillor
as
Ragg.
well.
Thank
You know,
you.
it's
An excellent
very well put
recommendation.
together.
Thank you. Very good recommendation for not very light sounding Sunday evening viewing. All right, so unless anybody has any burning desire to contribute any more to this debate, and I'd like to thank our member of the public for staying all the way to the end of the motion, because it's quite a big ask if you're, I guess you've been to councils before, but Councillor Bailey, is it urgent? Okay, I was rounding up. Can you add anything to the debate? Right, well, having said that I would stop the debate after Councillor Ragg, I now have two more people. No, I didn't. I think we're going to go to the vote now. I think it's quite late enough. Thank you very much, everybody, for a lovely debate. And I'm sure that we all wish the oceans very well, because we are so connected to them here, but anywhere in this country, as others have pointed out. Right, we're now going to move to a vote. If you are in favour of the motion as amended, which is actually that this council supports the work of Devon County Council, would you please raise your hand now? If you are against it, would you please raise your hand now? And if you wish to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? Hold your horses, please. There's one more item on the agenda. Thank you very much, everybody. I think that was unanimous. And thank you very much, Grace, for coming. Right, agenda item 18, appointment of representatives to the Standards Committee. Now, we went through, members may be aware of quite a rigorous recruitment process over several months for new members for the Standards Committee. And we have a series of recommendations in this paper of the people that we thought would be the best to do this work, obviously probably until the council goes pop, unfortunately. So the people who are in the recommendations, it's one recommendation with 3 sub-items. These are the people that we thought would be the best. If anybody has any comments, I'm going to propose it from the chair, because it's my committee and it's simpler that way. So does anybody have any questions they want to ask or any debate? No? Okay. Oh, Councillor Bailey.
Sorry, I did raise this in our standards committee, but for appointments, for male appointments, and this council needs to do better, I think, in terms of recruiting mixed appointments. So I know that's something that the committee is going to take forward, but I just want to flag it to all members of the council. Thank you.
Point very much taken, Jess, thank you. And it is something that occurred to us as well during the recruitment process, that actually there were very few women who applied. I mean, very few. Okay, so if you are happy to vote on these recommendations, if you would like to vote in favour of these appointments, would you please raise your hand now? And if you wish to vote against them, would you please raise your hand now? And if you'd like to abstain, would you please raise your hand now? And that is largely carried. Thank you much. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and thanks to everybody who's watching online. Andrew will tell us when we have closed the meeting, and if anybody is minded to, there are refreshments downstairs, the rooms downstairs. Thank you very much, everybody. We're offline. We have mince pies, mulled wine and mulled juice.